Okuma biomesiede ewo. Okuma biomesiede o ewo. Ohame okusi. Ọlọ́run ayọ́kùsí ọba ẹwàre dàmí họ. Wẹ̀rí owó pa yóò tàntàn. Orí owó pa yé gèlègèlè. Utàntàn ọ̀rẹ́fìà ògìsó. Evia ògìsó ẹ̀rí ògì àmìẹ́. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is J.R. Sydney for the Sydney Table Talk Show, the XTTS. Once again, I will be presenting this time around the Association of the Indigenous People of Benin in Europe and the Chief's Law of Edo State. Before I start, I would want to quote from the press release of the Attorney General of Edo State, Barrister Osamudiame Oluwole Iyamu, on the 28th of June 2022. I am going to take a particular look at number 9 of that letter. It said, for the education of those who might not be aware, the paramount ruler in the 7 local government areas which makes up Edo South Senatorial District is our revered monarch, His Majesty Omonobane Dokwa Polokbolo Oba Eware II, the Oba of Benin. It is within His Majesty's prerogative to appoint and exercise authority over any chief within His Majesty's domain, howsoever they may be called or described. It is not and has not hitherto been the duty or responsibility of government to appoint or recognize chiefs within the Benin Kingdom outside the prescribed authority of the Royal Palace of Benin. You see, the Edo State government therefore has no recognition role in appointment and activities of anyone claiming to be a chief. He said, at the risk of repetition, that is entirely a traditional and a cultural matter within the domestic authority of the Royal Palace of Benin Kingdom. Listen, this office will therefore appeal to all persons seeking to project an impression of conflict between the government and the palace on this issue and or any other issue for that matter to find other avenues to exercise their energy and imagination, as this office has absolutely no intentions, desire, or even legal responsibility in that regard. Well, this is a beautiful letter from the Attorney General, that the press release that he gave during his while trying to respond to the Ogiamie of Utata. Now, we were all told and we all saw recently that some of the dukes from these local government areas, from Edo South Senatorial District, recently wrote a letter to His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Edo State, Godwin Enoregase Obasekwi, requesting him to create traditional councils for the 7 local government areas in Edo South. But the Attorney General is saying that the Oba of Benin is a paramount ruler. That he is a paramount ruler. It's very, very unfortunate. Well, before I go further, I want to read again to your hearing the letters that these chiefs wrote. Okay. The Executive Governor Edo State, His Excellency Godwin Enoregase Obaseki, Government House, Benin City. Your Excellency, Sir. Please constitute traditional councils for Edo South local government areas of Edo State. We, the Enigi of the local government areas of Edo South, who enjoy recognition as traditional rulers in the schedule to the Traditional Rulers and Chiefs Laws of Benin State 1979, as applicable in Edo State, bring to Your Excellency our warm felicitations and best wishes. We use this occasion to request that Your Excellency kindly exercises the prerogative conferred on your exalted office by Part 7, Section 45 of the Traditional Rulers and Chiefs Law at this critical stage in the development of our dear state, to establish traditional councils for the local government areas of Oredo, Ego, Ikpobaoka, Orion, Umude, Ovia Northeast, Ovia Southwest of Edo State. In making the above request, we are mindful of our duties to formulate general proposals, advice, and guidance to our respective local government councils and assist in the maintenance of law and order therein. Permit us to count on your demonstrated commitment to the attainment of greater heights in the management of public affairs in Edo State at this critical period when all hands should be on deck. All right? Kindly accept our esteemed regards now, as always. Yours faithfully, His Royal Highness Edomoyi I Ogiegbai, Enogi of Igbai Siloko, and Professor Akinzwa Enogi of Ewoba Nusa. This is the letter that the Nigis wrote to the governor of the state. Now, let us take a look at section 45 of the Chief Law of Edo State. Section 45, part 7 says, the military administrator, otherwise now, the governor may by order establish for any one or more local government areas a traditional council, and until the executive council otherwise determines, there shall be established for the various local government councils in the state the traditional council specified in the third schedule to this edit. You see, Mr. Oluwole, one would have been expecting that as the Attorney General of the state, it was your duty to have advised the state government to immediately proceed with the creation of traditional councils for the 7 local government areas. Because the non-creation of these traditional councils does nothing but underdevelop these local government councils. Because in the creation of 7 traditional councils for the 7 local government areas, we are talking of having 7 presidents or 7 chairmen, 7 treasurers, 7 secretaries. This automatically means the redistribution of weights to these areas. But in the case of one man now occupying the 7 local government areas, what happens is that the entire weight of the 7 local government areas ends up in his pocket. Therefore, the local government, the other 6 local governments, or the entire 7 local governments, the means of development or from profiting from the dividends of democracy no longer exist. Now, let us go and we now see further. We're still on section 45. Say 2. Traditional councils established under this section shall consist of A, the president, who shall be a traditional ruler in the local government area. B, all the other traditional rulers in the local government area where applicable. C, other traditional chiefs whose titles are associated with the local government area or areas, as the case may be, as the executive council may appoint. And D, the chairman of the local government council, or where there are 2 or more local government councils, the chairman of all the local government councils in that area. 3, every order made under this section shall be published in the State Gazette and shall have effect upon which such publications from the date named therein. 4, every order establishing a council under this section shall A, specify the name and description of the council and the date on which it shall be established. B, describe the device of the seal of the council. C, provide for the composition of the council. D, contain such provisions for other matters as are required by this edit to be prescribed therein. Now, section 46. Where the order so provides, a council set up under this part shall be a body corporate by the name designated in the order and shall have perpetual succession and a common seal and power to hold land and to sue and be sued in its corporate name. You see, you see something here that look at what is written here. Section 46. The same council can be sued, and why the same council can sue. So we cannot sue the Oba of Benin because they said, let's put it that way. Number 2 of section 46. Any contract or instrument which, if entered into or executed by a person not being a body corporate, would not require to be under seal, may be entered into or executed on behalf of a council by any person generally or specially authorized by the council for that purpose. Now, section 47. The functions of a council established under this part shall be A. Formulate general proposals by way of advice to the local government or to all local governments in its area. B. Where applicable, to harmonize the activities of such local government through discussions of problems affecting them generally and by giving advice and guidance thereon to such local governments. C. Where applicable, to coordinate development of plans of such local governments by joint discussions and advice. D. Where requested by the military administrator, otherwise the governor, or as the case may require, by one or all the local governments in its area, to assist in the assessment of rates in consultations with such local governments or local governments in the area and their subsequent collection. A. To give support for arts and culture. F. To assist in hold on. Okay. Government in the area and the subsequent collection to give support for arts and culture. Now, here comes the most interesting part of the chieftaincy law. Say transitional provisions and repeals. This is section 37. Subject to the provisions of this section, every declaration A made under the provision of part 2 of the repeated law, B registered or re-registered with the appropriate government department under the provisions of part 2 of the repeat law, shall have effect as if it had been made, registered or re-registered, as the case may be, under the provisions of this edict. 38, that's section 38 now. Any appointment, section 38, any appointment to a traditional ruler's title or to a chieftaincy title, A, made in accordance with declaration under part 2 of the repeal law, approved by the Executive Council or by the prescribed authority, shall be deemed to have been made or approved as the case may be under the provisions of this effect. Section 39. Where a vacancy occurs in a traditional ruler's title or in a traditional ruler's chieftaincy title to which section 23 has been applied, after the coming into force of this edict, but before making of a declaration, the vacancy may be filled in accordance with the customary law applying to that title. You see, what does the chief law says about vacancy? The customary law as applied to that title. It is not the Oba of Benin who would come and say how the Ogiamie's title vacancy can be filled. But the Ogiamies who have the customary laws of that title, who they are, they have the prerogative of how the vacancy can be filled. And this is exactly what happened in the case of His Imperial Majesty Rich Arisco Semege Ogiamie JP. The family sat down and he was appointed as the next and the 24th Ogiamie of Utentan. Now, B. The Executive Council may approve the person so appointed or set aside the appointment. 2. Any appointment to a traditional ruler's title or to a chieftaincy's title A approved under subsection 1 of this section, or B, approved under the repealed law and not revoked immediately before the commencement of this edit, or C, notified by the Executive Council by notice in the State Gazette immediately before the commencement of this edit, shall be deemed to have been approved under the provisions of this Act. Where it appears to the appropriate authority that there is a dispute as to the appointment to any traditional ruler's title or any chieftaincy's title to which Section 23 of this edit has been applied, and in respect of which no declaration has been approved or registered, the appropriate authority may notify the traditional council or the prescribed authority, as the case may be, that a dispute exists in respect of the title, and thereupon no proceedings shall be taken by the traditional council or the prescribed authority, as the case may be, to make or register or declaration without the consent of the appropriate authority. Now we have gone through section. We have seen all the sections. Now the most important thing now is when we take a great look at what our Attorney General was trying to tell us, what we find out is that there are a lot of incongruencies. The Attorney General was trying to tell us that the traditional institution is a no-go area for the state. But Section 45, 46, 47 made it very clear that the prerogative of the state government over the traditional institution is certain, and there is no two ways about it. The traditional institution is under the domain of the state government. All right? Now, let us go further. And again, let us take the 1968 chieftaincy law, which was amended in 1979. But since in the repeals of 1979, Part 3 or Section 3 of the Chieftaincy's Law of 1968 was not repealed, I want to read again clearly to the hearing of my audience. The MSLN number 37 of 1968, Constitutions and Suspensions and Amendments, Decree 1966, Chief Law Cap 19, the Recognized Chieftaincy Order 1968, Date of Commencement 8 October 1968, in exercise of the powers conferred by Section 1 of the Chief Law Cap 19 and by the virtue of all other laws enabling me in that behalf, I, Olusegun Popo Edodo, Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, hereby make the following order. 1. This order may be cited as the Recognized Chieftaincy Order 1968. 2. The provisions of Part 2 of the Chief's Law Cap 19 are hereby applied to the Ogiame of Benin Chieftaincy. 3. The Benin City Council is hereby designated as the competent local government council in respect of the Ogiame's chieftaincy, made at Benin the 7th day of November 1968, O.P. Edodo, Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs. Now, in the same 1979 chieftaincy law, this law was never repealed. This law is still a valid law. In fact, by the judgment of the Court of Appeal, the Honorable Justice Olukayode Bada said that, in my humble opinion, that the MSLN of 1968 was a valid law, meaning that Ogiame remains a traditional ruler and the competent chieftaincies tool for Benin City local government by today, the competent chieftaincies tool for Oredo local government council. All right. Now, having said that, what is actually the role of the Association of the Indigenous People of Benin City in Europe, AIPBE? I remember that a long time ago in one of the videos that I did, I appealed to my brothers in the diaspora, even those in Nigeria. We have decided in the association, I am the president of the association, we have decided and we have taken it upon ourselves to seek legal means in resolving the issue of Edo South. My association currently is pursuing one case at the Federal High Court in Abuja. We filed that case in 2020, but unfortunately, due to the outbreak of COVID-19, for 1 year and a half, we couldn't do much. And by the time the court came back, or by the time COVID was a little bit relaxed, the Federal High Court judges went on strike for about 4 months. And by the time they came back, 2022 was almost halfway gone. And by the time they resumed fully, the judge who was in charge of the case went on retirement. And after that, we had to wait for the case to be reassigned to a new judge. By late last year, the case was reassigned to a new judge, and we starting the case de novo. It's a legal term, meaning that the case is starting all over again. So we've been to court in December, but the new date, we will soon get a new date now. As a matter of fact, when AIPB filed that case in Abuja, I want you people to listen very carefully. We did not file criminal cases against the government of Benin. That is not our duty. What we did was to go to the court seeking declarations whether the Oba of Benin has the authority to take over people's land, whether he has the authority to just point to a woman and say, that woman is my wife, whether he has the authority to bring people to his palace and mess them up, whether he has the authority to change the name of villages, whether he has authorities to misbehave. This is what we are seeking. These are the declarations, because the people from Edo South, as a matter of fact, they have one problem. The problem is whenever you're talking to them, then what do you hear from them? Oh, Bano. It's okay. There's no problem. But AIPBE's intention is to go to the court and seek declarations as to his limit. Because when we have these declarations stating clearly that the Oba of Benin cannot go beyond certain levels, we will distribute all these court rulings to the people in Edo South. Not only in Edo South, maybe in the whole of Edo State. We will distribute so that these people can know their limits, so that whenever the Oba of Benin comes to their village trying to rob them of their lands, they can now say, oh, Oba, please, there is a ruling from the Federal High Court in Abuja that says that you don't have authority over lands here. Okay? This is the only way the people can stand up and fight for what belongs to them. This is the case we filed in Abuja. We are on that. I can assure you that at the end of the day, we are going to get those rulings, because the Constitution of Nigeria is very clear. And the Land Use Acts, they are very clear. The Land Use Decree is very clear over the issue of lands. So we will get them. And when we get them, we will get copies to the people, so that the people will begin to know where they stand and know how to defend themselves. For some certain reasons, we couldn't file certain cases in Abuja for jurisdiction purposes. For example, we could not file cases of whether the Oba of Benin has the authority to constitute a dukedom in Edo South. We could not file this because this is a question of jurisdiction. And we have been looking for a lawyer in Benin in the jurisdiction to file this case. It has been very, very difficult, but finally we have gotten a lawyer to do it for us. What we now lack is We lack funds. AIPBE is an association of dedicated young men and women who are trying to defend the rights of the people in Edo State, Edo South, Nigerians in general. We are not very rich. We are begging, appealing, and kindly seeking your financial support to be able to carry these programs through. I am going to be introducing, for the year, we have 3 other projects. One, before I go further, let me thank the financiers so far, those who have been providing funds for these legal cases in the court. I don't want to mention names of anybody who has been responsible for providing finance for security purposes, because Yoba Benin, as you all know, is a man surrounded by a lot of assassins, criminals. And they have all sort of dirty ways of putting fears into people, intimidating people. Not me, they cannot intimidate me, They can't intimidate me in any way. For this reason, names will not be mentioned. And most of the people who have donated so far, prefer to be anonymous, and we will keep it so. And the records, they are with us. But for the year 2023, we have laid down other programs because of the further difficulties that, if you look at what happened in Legon the other time, Idioba Benin sent his men, they went there, they destroyed people's houses, and that case is still there. We don't even know the level. We don't even know what is happening to that case. But in order for us to bring these unforeseen circumstances to an end, to stop this arbitrarily abuse of power by the Oba of Benin, not just by the Oba of Benin, by his proxies like his brothers who are Enigis or Dukes, we are going to file a case, like I told you, for jurisdiction purposes, the cases we couldn't file in Abuja. We are going to file a case at the Edo State High Court. The case we're filing is very simple. We're filing a case to seeking a declaration from the court whether the Oba of Benin actually has the jurisdiction to constitute dukedom in Edo South, and at the same time confer on these people His Royal Highness and present them with staff of office, and equally authorizes them to take over the land of those territories. We are going to file. This is one of the cases that we are going to file. We are going to file another case whether the Oba of Benin has the authority to negotiate memorandum of understandings between villages or communities, between the communities and investing companies. The reason why I'm stating this is that as I'm talking to you, there is a problem that is brewing right now in Egboko village. A refinery was built in Egboko, and the Oba of Benin, unknowingly to the community, the people of Egboko, Oba of Benin went and negotiated a memorandum of understanding, now asking the villagers to come and sign. You see, we are equally going to court to seek whether he has this authority. All right? We are going to seek whether he has the authority. And again, you see, one of the reasons why the creation of traditional councils for the 7 local government areas of Edo South is very, very important, because if Oriomo had his own traditional councils, the Oba of Benin would have no authority to go to the companies and begin to negotiate a memorandum of understanding between the villagers and the company. The local content law in Nigeria is very simple. The memorandum of understanding is a document negotiated between a community and the exploring companies in their territories, not by a third party. The communities, they must sit down with the exploring companies or the companies who are coming to invest in their territories. They put together this memorandum of understanding. The memorandum of understanding, what does it mean? It means the rapport between this community and this company. areas that these companies would have to assist this community, and equally areas in which the communities would have to reciprocate. All right? So, the creation of 7 local government areas naturally means the redistribution of wealth. Today, let me tell you, those of you in the diaspora, you don't know what you are losing. You are losing so much because oil companies are springing up here, and most of the people from Egboko, highly educated men and women, they live in the United States, they live in Canada, they live in Europe, right? Not knowing that they have what we call wealth in their villages now, because they could have come up with their resources and then put what we call service companies to these refining companies. But within the present situation, you cannot, if you want to make an agreement or you want to finance a service companies to these refineries, the refineries will request you to go and get a letter of recommendation from a traditional ruler with a staff of office. And the only traditional ruler with a staff of office is the Oba of Benin. Meaning that you have to go to the Oba of Benin to give you a recommendation letter to the refining company of your community. And what happens? Meaning that you would have to swear on oath to the Oba of Benin before getting that recommendation letter. This is why we want to go to court. We want to ensure that these activities in the next 5 years, that all this nonsense that is happening in the South will no longer happen. So we are pleading with you people to kindly help AIPBE in raising funds for the court cases. From this moment, I will be producing at least 2 videos a week reminding you people that we need your funds. What I am saying is that I am going to put my face. I do not say bring your face. I am putting my face. But what I'm saying, assist in the financing and the funding. We have been receiving money, but the money has been not so much. We have expended about 2 million naira in the first case we have in Abuja. And now the ones we are going to start in Benin, there are about 3 cases. I've just enumerated the first one, whether he can constitute dukedom, all right? Okay? Whether he can negotiate an article of memorandum between the community and the investing companies in the communities. We have another case that is the case of the creation of the local government councils. We intend to file a motion compelling the state government to immediately proceed with the respect of Section 45 of the Constitution of the Chief Laws of Edo State, Section 45, which says that the state governor has the prerogative to create traditional councils, because in Edo State, you have ASAC or traditional council, ASAC Central. If you go to in the central part of Edo Central, the Edo Central should have about 5 or 6 local governments, if I'm not mistaken. But each of the local government, they have the traditional councils. If you go to Edo North, each of the local government in Edo North, they have their traditional councils. But in Edo South, we only have one traditional council. It's an aberration. It does not lead us anywhere. It does not equally portend any act to development. What it does is to underdevelop us. But because we cannot leave everything to Governor Obaseki, because if Obaseki has to do all these jobs alone without getting inputs from the human rights communities, it will look as if Obaseki has personal problems with the Oba of Benin. We don't want it to look that way. We want it to happen in the legal format. Obaseki himself, we have documents from the law courts now compelling him to take these actions so that the Oba of Benin will not begin to make noise like the way he's making noise about the antiquities that is to be brought back. And lastly, we intend filing another case. That case is about the Benin Traditional Council. The Benin Traditional Council is not a legal entity. Section 45, 46, 47 made it very clear that Traditional council shall be formed on the basis of the local government, meaning that the traditional council shall be called Oredo Traditional Council, Ovia Northeast, Ovia Southwest, Ikpobaoka, Orion, Uhumude, not Benin Traditional Council. Benin Traditional Council is an illegal entity. We intend to file a motion calling for the scrapping of Benin Traditional Council because it's an illegal entity. We are going to ask the court to ensure that the laws be respected. The Traditional Council be created for every local government in Edo South. Now, lastly, ladies and gentlemen, I want to use this opportunity to plead with you. The email of our association is AIPBEUROPE, IPB Europe, AIPBEUROPE at gmail.com. You can send us all your requirements or information. You can request information through this email, AIPBEUROPE at gmail.com. Send all your inquiries to us and we will reply you. Otherwise, you can WhatsApp on +39 351 275 9651. Again, you can WhatsApp AIPBE on 351, attention, international code, +39 351 275 9651. For your donations, for those who have PayPal, you can send your donations to mrcultureman@gmail.com, meaning that is MRCULTUREMAN @gmail.com, mrcultureman@gmail.com. Otherwise, you can send your donations through MoneyGram, Western Union, or RIA using the name Johnny Raphael Sydney, JOHNNY RAPHAEL SIDNEY, Sydney, Genova, Italy. Ladies and gentlemen, on this note, I want to close this discussion, but I am really appealing. Do not wait and begin to gnash your teeth. The only way we can restore our dignity in Edo South is through legal means. I can assure you that every action that the Oba of Benin has taken has no legal backing. And the only thing that the Oba of Benin is afraid of is the law court. And that's why we intend to tackle him through the law courts. Your donations are kindly needed. We want to stop this arbitrary abuse of human rights. The resources of the people should go to the people. The people of Egboko has all rights to negotiate their memorandum of understanding with the company that built the refining company. The people of Orogo, they have all rights to negotiate MOU with companies coming to invest there. The people of Ologbo, they have the same rights to negotiate, not a third party. But to avoid confusions, AIPBE is going to court to seek all the declarations and clarifications in all these issues. And when we get all these issues done, we are going to provide all these court rulings to this community so that young men and women would have documents tomorrow whenever they are talking about the authority of the traditional institution. It is not just about the Oba of Benin, the entire traditional institution. Let me just say something. I was watching a program the other day, Oba Land, and this Agbe, the Nogi of Uhiri, was being interviewed. He said something that really got me crazy. He said he gave 300 lands to his villagers. You know, I was surprised because where did I get free lands? 300 plots of lands. Does the land belongs to him? These are lands that already belongs to people who farmed on those lands hundreds of years ago. How can Agbe now say he's giving 300 plots of land to his villagers? In that same program, one of the boys he brought, one of his boys he brought, the boy said, "Oh, we are building 40 plots of land for our Duke, my brothers. Look, we should not fold our hands. Human rights is at a very, very high cost. The fact that the Constitution has been written, even to the United States of America, let me remind you, Abraham Lincoln, he stopped slavery in the 18th century. And Abraham Lincoln was assassinated for that purpose. But until 1966, 1967, in the United States of America, black people could not exercise their voting rights. There is always a cost. When it comes to human rights, there's a cost. Having a constitution is not sufficient, but you still have to go and fight for it. And the awareness must be brought to the people. I give you another example. In Italy, where I live, Italy has been a republic. Italy is about 100 plus as a republic. Women started voting in this country in 1958. Until 1958, women could not vote in Italy. You see, women could not vote. So the fact that we got freedom from the Europeans does not mean that our freedom is already done. No. Human rights, we will continue to fight. And I'm going to tell you one other more story before I end this program. Until 1977 in Nigeria, the Nigerian Constitution says that the government was not a fallible government, meaning that the government could break your leg and the police would beat the hell out of you. There were no laws to even charge the police for court for abuse. Until Fela's house was burnt down and Fela dragged the then military government to court. At the end of the day, the Supreme Court of Nigeria ruled in favor of Fela Anikulapo Kuti. And the power to now sue government for damages came out from that case. That's why every Nigerian today can sue government because of Fela Anikulapo Kuti. That's true. It was Fela who gave us that. But you see, the problem in Nigeria is that we are from a country where the history is never told, the history is never told in Nigeria. We live, it's my turn today. I'm occupying the highest seat. And when I'm gone, the next man who comes in will never talk about me, about my achievements, about my shortcomings, and about my outcomings. This is how we've been living in Nigeria. They say the history is never told. But, I remember this song of Fela Anikulapo Kuti that once in a while I often sing it because it makes me happy. I say, whether you like or you no like, after you hear this little talk, if you like, you cool, well. If you no like, you hang, well. If you hang, you go die, well. You go die for nothing. Them go carry your body go police station. You die wrongfully, well. You see, and that's true. My brothers and sisters, I am Johnny Raphael Sidney. I live in the city of Genoa in the northwest of Italy. Like I said, I will be expecting your donations, contributions to our projects in 2023 to flow in, because we would want to be in court as early as March in these cases in Benin. We would want to be in court, but it's only with your powers. We have worked out all our strategies. All our documents are ready. We have documents, The AIPBE is a constitutionally recognized human rights organization incorporated under the Corporate Affairs Commission of Nigeria. We are being given the power to fight against human rights abuse. I remind you again, for your inquiries, please send all your inquiries to aipbeurope@gmail.com, or you can send your inquiries to WhatsApp +39 351 275 9651. And for your donations, if you have PayPal, you can send your donations through mrcoachman@gmail.com. Otherwise, you can send your MoneyGram, Western Union, or RIA to Johnny Raphael Sydney. Let me spell my name completely for you. JOHNNYRAPHAEL Raphael SIDNEY Sydney, Genova, Italy. You're all welcome, and may God bless you all. Let us not lose hope, and let us not give up the struggle. We will continue to fight, because it's our right to fight. In China, people are still fighting for human rights. And as you all know, in China, there's progress in China. The communist government of China continues to improve on its human rights records. The same thing. It's not an automatic process, but we want to fight. AIPBE is ready to go. We don't need your faces. We need your funds to be able to carry out these processes. We need your funds to be able to go to Orogo and tell President Group of Companies to pay royalties to the villagers. We need your funds to be able to go to Egboko and tell the refining company in Egboko to pay his royalties to the villagers and not to the third party or to the above Benin. On this note, I want to say, may God bless you all. Continue to fill your pockets, while we'll expect your donation. Thank you, and God bless you. Don't forget, our WhatsApp is +39 351 275 9651. For your inquiries, send your messages. God bless you.